The other concept I want to introduce to you is the gamification cycle. And this essentially is, if you like, the process that's involved in any games. And it starts with a challenge. And the challenge is personalised to the individual that is being gamified. And that challenge has a response. And in order for a game to be effective, you need to be able to measure the outcome of that response and provide feedback. So that loop goes round, and once you've gone round one time, that creates a new challenge. And the best games are situations where this cycle is repeated. But it's very important to recognise that not all games are attractive to all people. Games are very much a personalised situation, and it will depend on the individual and the circumstances to how easy it is to get them engaged or involved. So these are what I call some of the key gamification elements. It starts with a challenge, and that challenge has to be based on a desired outcome. So this talk I'm giving you today is a game, right? It's a game. My challenge is to create an outcome where you have enjoyed my presentation, you've learned something about gamification, and you want to apply that in practice. So I have a challenge to achieve that, and it's made worse by the fact that I speak in English, which is not your native language, and I have different culture, different background. So all of these create challenges. So one of the techniques I use is to give this offer of a book as a prize to get you engaged and interested. The next thing is this response. This is going back to the gamification cycle, and the response is designed to progress the outcome. You need to be able to measure the progress. One of the reasons why I do these 360-degree filming, and I'm looking at you all the time, looking around the room to see whether you are awake, whether you are interested, whether you're nodding, or whether you're shaking your heads. Because you don't understand or agree what's in it. I can see a young man there who looks very much asleep. He will be on the video. And of course, having some sort of feedback. And you'll see when it comes to health, measurement and feedback are absolutely critical. And at the end of all of this, in every games cycle, and those of you who develop games or use games within a university situation will know the importance of debriefing and reflection so that you can actually learn something from what you've been doing. So these gamification elements, I've written a white paper on gamification which includes all of these. So these are all things that you can use in the development of your games. So you're probably familiar with leaderboards. They're a component of games. So they're not essential. You don't have to have all of these in every game, but you will choose the elements that you want to incorporate in your game in the game design. But as well as these elements, there are also what I call influencers, and these are, if you like, they relate to the personalisation of the game. I call it the A-list, because all of these will affect whether a person is going to be engaged, whether they're interested, and whether it's going to be successful. So, for example, authority. And by authority, I mean when someone is gamifying a situation, does that person have authority in the eyes of the players? So a football manager has authority. He's called the manager, he's called the coach, so he has authority. Hopefully, me standing here and my background gives me some kind of authority and some kind of credibility in talking to you. So that, but also you have things like attractiveness. Whether the outcome of the game is is going to be attractive. You know, is winning going to be worth something? And this is one of the reasons why I offer the book. Hopefully, for some of you, getting a book from a man from the UK will be an attractive, and I want you. It will encourage you to listen to the presentation. So the best gamification teachers, in my opinion, are babies and animals. If you observe their behaviour and look at what they do, you can learn a lot about gamification techniques. And babies particularly learn every day by their behaviours. That's how they learn to understand the world around them. And it's the same with every one of us. As we get older and we settle into a routine, we perhaps lose some of our gamification skills because the challenges are not there. They're not the same as they are when we are younger. So why is it important, particularly today? And one of the reasons is that we live in what's called an attention economy. We live in a world where we've got Instagram, we've got Twitter, we've got all of these social media channels, and people's attention span is very short. So you have to be able to engage people and keep people engaged. And particularly the younger generation has very different expectations to my generation. When they're growing up, they're much more demanding of being entertained. So some practical examples now. You are all wearing masks, which is a result of COVID-19 and coronavirus, but the use of games in a pandemic situation is not new. And going back to the days of the Black Death, they had games like Ring a Ring a Roses, Pocket Full of Posies, Ashu, Ashu, We All Fall Down. That's an English game which was designed to teach children about the Black Death and to stay away from each other. So it was a game that was developed 300 or 400 years ago in the time of the Black Death. So it's not something new. And today, of course, we have the challenges of lifestyle. And one of the things that my book is about how our relationship with technology has changed in my lifetime. And it's called Gadgets to God. It's not religious, but what it's trying to say is that when I was a young man, human beings use their skill and ability to control machines.